Welcome back to WGNC Garage. Today we're going to be replacing the fluid inside the ATTESA pump, reservoir and everything like that. So I have the original E-TS, which is the electronic traction control systems fluid, and the tank, which is located in the driver's side rear or right rear behind this little door, is where the fluid actually goes. As you can see, there's a max and a minimum. Now, right now, the fluid level is a little bit under the max. Once I actually start the vehicle, it's gonna turn on the pump, and this fluid level will drop. So I'm gonna start the vehicle, bring it up onto some ramps, just so I have ease of access, and crawl underneath and start messing with the system. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it in the video. However, once we get there, it is, and now it stopped. So that was the system priming the ATTESA all-wheel drive. I will now move this onto the ramps. Now that we're on the ramps, I'm heading underneath. Alright, so quick kind of layout of how the ATTESA system goes. Obviously the tank is here. Pipes come down, round, and actually pass above the rear differential. So these are the piping. And above here, if I can squeeze by, there we go. This is the ATTESA pump. And this canister is actually the nitrogen canister. I will be replacing that in the future, but not now. That just helps multiply the pressure. It sends it via this pipe all the way to the transfer case. So now to the transfer case to start bleeding out the excess pressure. Alright, so this is the actual actuator for the ATTESA. Pushes on basically an internal lever, and it squishes the clutch pack so that your all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive can engage. So with that, I have a little hose that I'm gonna shimmy onto here. There we go. Oh, okay. Looks like I'm gonna have to hold that in place once I crack it open. Alright, I am just using a little 10mm wrench. Ooh. That got all over the body. I'm gonna go get a rag and be right back. Alright, so let me wipe this up, and let me place this on here, see if I can get it to stick. Alright. So with that there, I'm now gonna use the 10mm. I'm gonna open this up again. And there's the fluid coming out in a gold color. It does take a little bit for it to completely, so right now it's just retracting. Alright, so it's kind of dribbling out. I'm going to close this, and then remove that hose and go back above and re-pressurize the system by turning the key on. Now before I re-pressurize the system, you can see it's still right below that minimum mark that it was as I drove it up. So now I'm going to turn the key on, see if I can run back here so you guys can watch the level drop. Hopefully. Oh, vehicle's not running. Alright, let's see if we can turn it on. There we go. And it's dropping. the tank is pretty big, and the level has dropped. So now I'm gonna turn it off, climb back under, and repeat the process. So once again, I just slide this little hose on. There we go. Oh, come on. Stay on. There we go. And now grab the 10mm, crack it open. So as you can see, as it's coming out, it's kind of like a yellow right now, which is the proper color for it. Now that it's down to a steady dribble, I'm going to close this up. Now, and for all intents and purposes, you can crack this open while the vehicle is running. I have done that in the past. However, the pump does not just stay on, it turns on in bursts. I don't like it running in bursts every like half a second, so I would rather just shut it off and slowly bleed it out. So now that that has been resolved there, once again I will start the vehicle. Pump will run. And now it's shut off. I also, not sure if you could hear it, but the all-wheel drive relay clicked. Alright, so I got a funnel, and I'm going to slowly start getting this. Now this original ETS fluid is extremely difficult to get. I do have to give it to my friend who, if you've seen the channel, has a Supra, and he was actually able to assist me when we were in Japan to acquire this oil. So I owe him many thanks in the ability to get this oil. So as you can see, it's a nice clear color going in. Now I am going to overfill this on purpose, so that way the new fluid can sit on top and all the old can drain out. Alright. Now so the funnel doesn't drip anywhere, I just take and I flip it up and then down, and you can see how much clearer it is on top compared to below. So I will continue cycling the key until it is completely drained and new fluid is pumping out of the drain below. Alright, so I'm on the final drain for the fluid. There is a hair left over which I'll be pouring into the cup so you guys can see what color that actually is. I did leave it a little bit higher than the max, because once I drain this amount and I actually go back to turn it on, it should drop right between minimum and maximum. That's what I kind of had last time. So now that I'm on the final one, let's shut the car down and scoot on under. Now I let the vehicle run because I did have to start it, I think, a total of 8 times, I believe. Like 7 or 8 times I had to start the vehicle so that the ATTESA pump would kick in. So I wanted to let the battery charge for a little bit. Alright, that's a lot clearer than last time, or the first time I should say. Starting to see that it's clear. All right. There we go. All right, so that's there, and then don't forget to put the little cap back on. Let's keep it covered from debris. Now, just to be safe, I'm going to give it a little bit of a tighten, nothing too much. There we go. Alright, so let's see what the old fluid looked like. It does look quite cloudy. I'm not sure if that can be seen in the video, but it does look like it had quite a bit of moisture. So that is it's a good thing it was changed. And now I'll grab the keys. Now to show you, as you can see, it's like a dark gold, almost a brown color in the sunlight. Not completely dark because you can still see through. However, the new fluid, which hopefully there's just a little bit left in here, new ETS fluid, as you can see, is a nice yellowish gold, and that's what new ETS fluid looks like. So that will be put into there. Wow. So that is the replacement for the fluid. Now I'm going to start the vehicle one more time, and this should be between the minimum and the maximum for the ATTESA. Alright, pump is running. And it is right at that minimum line. So I don't want it to go anything below that. And then once it releases the pressure and everything overnight, it'll raise back up slowly. So I'm going to put the cap back on, close this up. And now we have completed the ATTESA flush with 1 liter of ETS fluid.